everyone, Lee Martin here from sportsbookreview.com with my top 5 NFL picks of the week. Last week I had an okay run with some profit where I went 3-2 with my top picks. Now, let's add to that with my top 5 picks for week 2. Before I get into my breakdowns, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. That way you never miss any content. For my first pick of the week, we're going to be at Lincoln Financial Field, where the LA Rams are favored by 1 point. The Eagles losing to the Washington football team at their first game of the season was embarrassing. After scoring the first 17 points of the game, the Eagles then gave up a 27-0 run to the 32nd ranked scoring offense in 2019. Last week versus Washington, Carson Wentz had 8 sacks against him. I don't expect Aaron Donald will make it any easier for his offensive line this week, as the Cowboys, a normally formidable offensive line, was ranked 29th in the league last week after facing the Rams. Versus Dallas, Malcolm Brown rushed 18 times for 79 yards, 2 touchdowns, and caught 3 out of 4 targets for 31 yards. Brown currently holds the lead in snaps and touches for the Rams, and I can easily see Brown pulling that off again this week versus the Eagles. Goff should be able to move the ball easier this weekend against a thin Eagles secondary, so expect Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp to have big days. I'm backing the Rams -1 at Bookmaker. For my second pick of the week, I'm going to look at the Denver Broncos versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. First off, Denver's defense only allowed 3.7 rushing yards to Derrick Henry last week versus the Titans. I expect them to fare better against a less imposing Steelers rushing attack. This will make Ben Roethlisberger have to make more throws, and he won't have the benefit of playing the New York Giants defense this week. On top of that, James Conner is questionable for week 2 due to an ankle injury, so Big Ben will have less weapons at hand. On the other side of the ball, Denver moved it pretty well. Jerry Jeudy had a couple drops that stalled drives, which won't happen again. They got stopped at 4th and 1 on the 1-yard line, which left points off the board as well. The possible return of Courtland Sutton and KJ Hamler will only make it easier for Denver to score. I expect this to be a low-scoring game, so I'm going to take Denver +7.5 at Pinnacle. For my third pick of the week, I'm taking a peek into the Baltimore Ravens versus the Houston Texans. Currently, the spread is 7 points, with the Ravens set as the favorite. The Ravens are off to a great start since they beat the Browns last week 38-6 and look even better than last year. Lamar Jackson completed 20 out of 25 passes for 275 yards at an 80% pass completion rate. Tight end Mark Andrews played 71% of the team's offensive snaps while having 5 receptions out of 6 targets for 58 yards. It's always nice to see a quarterback that can rush. Jackson himself rushed 7 times for 45 yards and looked dominant the entire game until he and other starters were taken out early in the 4th. Cleveland might not have a great defense, but it's hard to argue that Houston's is any better, especially in the secondary. The loss of DeAndre Hopkins was apparent for Houston, as Watson didn't have his security blanket and the team just doesn't have enough playmakers to keep up the likes of the Chiefs or the Ravens. Baltimore was the most efficient team in week 1, and I expect that to continue against an average at best Houston team. I'm taking Baltimore -7 at Pinnacle. For my fourth pick, I'm checking out the Seattle Seahawks versus the New England Patriots. Both teams played well last week and came out with a win. I honestly expected a bit more from the Patriots against the Dolphins, but I'm sure glad that Cam Newton was able to hold up the team. Newton completed 15 out of 19 passes at a 78.9% pass completion rate. He also rushed 15 times for 75 yards. In rushing stats, behind Newton is Sony Michel, who rushed 10 times for 37 yards. The Patriots defense managed 3 sacks from Adrian Phillips, J.C. Jackson, and Stephon Gilmore. However, what will their defense look like against a superior Seattle offense? Last week, Russell Wilson completed 31 out of 35 passes with an 88.6% pass completion rate. Reports have come out this week that Russell Wilson demanded that Seattle change their offensive philosophy, meaning the old run-pass Seahawks are now putting the ball in Wilson's hands earlier and often. That led them to score 38 points last week, a mark that they only eclipsed once all of last year. The Patriots might have looked good last week, but until they face a team better than the Dolphins, I will hold any judgment that they're the Patriots of years past without Tom Brady. I expect Russell Wilson to make more plays than Cam Newton. I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks -3 at Bookmaker. For my fifth and final pick of the week, I'm taking Monday Night Football with the New Orleans Saints versus Las Vegas Raiders. I'll admit that Las Vegas looked great offensively last week against the Panthers. However, the Saints and Panthers defense are worlds apart. It took a mismanaged 4th-and-1 play for the Raiders to sneak out a victory against a team in the Panthers that many thought would be one of the worst teams in the league. Meanwhile, the Saints absolutely dominated a Bucs offense that is loaded with weapons and was the hype of the offseason. The Saints, probably the best team in the NFC, will score at will against a Raiders defense that allowed 30 points to an average at best Panthers offense, whose coach and quarterback were in their first game with the team. Michael Thomas is out with a high ankle sprain, but there are enough weapons on the Saints team to make up for the loss of any one player outside of Drew Brees. On Monday night, I'm taking the Saints minus 5.5 at Bookmaker. Well guys, that's all I have for my top 5 NFL picks for week 2. If you would like to check out all of SBR's NFL content, then definitely check out our NFL Hub page at sbrpicks.com/NFL. If you'd like to further discuss my picks with me, then give me a follow on Twitter at LeeMartinSports and send me a message. Be sure to also give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. That way you never miss any important content. I wish you all the best of luck this week on all of your NFL picks. I'll see you next week.